Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel and thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to do so because I have a very special guest here and I always love the opportunity, right? When you connect with somebody and then you end up building that connection and relationship and now you're diving into and you want to get to know each other, right? So, as you all know, I have traveled to the Philippines, come back and speak during that event. And of course, I want to bring in one of the speakers during the High Level Live Manila, who the community of High Level really do know, right? So today, I'm excited to welcome the founder of the Marketing Autopilots, best-selling author, international speaker, and one of the leading experts in the WhatsApp automation. And this is really a tool that you need to use using High Level as well. So, our guest has spent nearly 2 decades in sales and marketing and has become the go to expert in high level community for helping businesses turn leads into real conversation. He's a certified admin, a creator of High Level Official WhatsApp course. Today, we are talking about automation, client journey, and what business are leaving on the table when they fail to follow up. We have Chris Dillon to our show right now. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was a lovely introduction.
Well, thank you. You know what? I am so excited to have this conversation and get to know you. And of course, see you soon in Dallas as well, right? But Chris,
Yes.
you know what? I love to kind of get to know your journey. You know, we all have our journey and our story. Tell me about like your journey in business, how you come about into high level community. So I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah, well, going back like 20 or so years ago, I was walking up and down university halls selling wristbands to nightclub events and making £1 per wristband, which was more than enough to cover my drinks for that night. And I started to understand social media marketing, started to understand that it was easier to get people to come to me and give them a better experience. And by the end of my first year, I had people knocking on my door asking for the wristbands as opposed to me going out and selling them. Fast forward years and years and years, COVID hit, and I set up my own business doing paid marketing, paid advertising. Uh, Good at paid ads. I've spent millions of pounds a client ad spend on predominantly generating leads through paid ads. And what I realized, as I think most businesses either come to realize or haven't yet realized and need to, is that generating the lead is just part of the process.
Mhm.
The next bit, their experience, is ultimately what's going to determine whether they buy or not. And I think it's a blind spot for most businesses. Um, so yeah, this business came about, and my relationship with High Level came about from looking at how best to follow those leads up. What services could I offer to do so? Stumbled across WhatsApp automation about 5 or 6 years ago now, probably
Wow.
five, and just happened to sort of go, well, can we automate that? Because I was doing it with WhatsApp manually because I knew it was more effective than email anyway.
Yes.
Learned that we could, and then I've been kind of understanding that and at the forefront of that for a while now. And then I met the high level team when they did. Do you remember the SaaSpreneur events they used to do?
Yes, yes, I
Uh,
wasn't part of that when they did Dallas.
yeah, I never actually got to one.
Okay.
But what happened in London? So in the UK, they had one of those events. I think it was June 2025, and I couldn't attend that event.
Hmm.
Uh, but earlier on in that week, I was at a conference that they were sponsoring. So I went over to the stand, and I love this. I love telling this story because it's a great example of the sentence being in the right place at the right time. But also, I hate that sentence because it implies it's all luck. And actually, as I know that you will echo, being in more right places makes it more likely you're there at the right time.
Yes.
So I went over to the stand and I basically said to them, look, I'm seeing you putting amazing things out with masterclasses on email, landing pages, and AI and all of this stuff. I don't see anything about WhatsApp. Why? And they came back and said our audience is predominantly American. WhatsApp isn't as big in America, but as they've spread out, they've started to realize actually we need to have a bit of a focus.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize that at the stand I was talking to Varun, one of the co-founders, Chase. I was talking to Umar, who's one of the leads for WhatsApp.
Mhm.
Travis, who's one of the top in the affiliate thing. I think Haplin was there as well. All of these people that are quite high up in the space. And at the stand, they asked me if I would be interested in recording a course for the high level university, and in exchange, looking at the certified admin program, becoming a certified admin with high level, and it just evolved from there.
Mhm.
But it's a great example of two things. One, being in the right place at the right time. Put yourself in more right places. You're far more likely to be there at the right time. And then two, when you are in those right places, be prepared to take that leap, go over, have that conversation with somebody, go over and shake somebody's hand, go over and meet somebody. I mean, I must have met 500, 600 people in Manila. And people were taking the opportunity to sort of stop and say, look, I have a question that I've always wanted to ask. Do you mind if I film the response to it? I was like, yeah, go ahead. Like, crack on as much as you can.
I love that one. That's one of the things, right? Like just putting yourself out there and taking action and like what you did, right? Because you saw a problem within the ecosystem that is not available. You kind of just offered it and there here you are. You created your own stage because that's one of the questions that I was asked in Manila as well. Like how did you start? I said like, well, if no one gives me the stage, I'll create my own stage, right? Because I know that
Yeah.
there's a value into it. And this is a very good point regarding the tool, right? At times, high level users or service providers gets into the weeds of the features and all of the things that is available in the tool, but you really concentrated in what's up. And I am US based, so I do understand that the first initial feedback when they said like US is not really something that we don't use it, right? But with the A2P, with all of these other things that has to go through, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a different ball game, right? So now, let me ask you though, does because I'm gonna be coming in a space like I really don't know anything about what's up and all of this
Hmm.
connection, right? So it's really more accessible for the international market, but as a US base, I can still use it
Yeah.
if it's being used, right, by a client or by somebody who has their phone, correct?
Yeah, there's very few countries in the world where it can't be used. Like
Okay.
China and Russia are on that list.
Okay.
But yeah, you can use it internationally. And
Hmm.
what I found, especially when talking in the US and obviously speaking at Level Up last year,
Yes.
amongst the international community in the US,
Hmm.
and that's going to include any immigrant population and also any businesses that deal with people outside of the US,
Yep.
the usage is really high. So, like naturally, if you've got family that are in different countries, you're going to be using WhatsApp with your family because it's a lot
Yes.
easier than any other method for the most part.
Hmm.
So, because of that, and what you're starting to see is a lot of workforces and friend groups are starting to go, oh, okay, well, I'll use that because half of the friend group already are. And it's one of those tools that when you start using it, it kind of becomes the default for the most part. It's definitely what happened in pretty much all of Europe, Latin America, South Africa, Africa, and most of Asia.
Okay.
It was free to message on WhatsApp when it first came out, and
Mm.
we didn't have to then pay SMS charges.
Yes.
And the reason it isn't as big in the US was when iPhone launched, they only did this in the US, but you could message iPhone to iPhone free of charge. So the allure of WhatsApp for everybody else wasn't there in the US, but
Mhm.
you 100% can use it. It's a free app for personal use. It will always be free. There,
Mhm.
there are no charges on WhatsApp for free. There's no charges for WhatsApp for business as well.
Okay.
What I typically teach is WhatsApp's API, which is like a third more professional tier above it, and
Mhm.
there are charges on that.
Okay. So is that where now the higher tier is what businesses kind of integrate within this country?
What I typically recommend is the API side is where you can do two massive things that nothing else really can.
Hmm.
Number one is fully automate really interactive messages. Easiest example is new lead or new inquiry comes
Hmm.
in, fills out an ad. I would send a video on WhatsApp with interactive buttons to get them starting a conversation and going down there.
Hmm.
That's going to be the API side. And the other side is mass broadcast messaging. So I have a very isolated community of about 650 people that opt in for videos from me every single week.
Hmm.
I'll go and record that video, put some button interactions in it, put it into the message, and I just, same way that you would send a mass email, I send a mass WhatsApp.
Hmm.
Goes out individually to 650 people. I've got clients sending 45,000 a month. I probably average about 4 to 5,000 ish.
Wow. Wow,
Um,
that's yeah, I mean that's really a lot, right? And one of the things that you've really mentioned as well, right, in the very beginning is that when you were doing like ads and everything and then the lead generation part of things, right? Of course, here I always say like SMS is very good because it's direct. My phone is always in my hand. How
yeah,
many times I mean, I think I think I have 10 emails, both personal and business and all the other
yeah.
things, right? And then I try to zap it out as well. Is it still part of, because I haven't been in the Philippines for the last 11 years, right? I'm born and raised in the Philippines, so the communication time during the time, email was still really prominent during my time during that. Um, is there still a large number of businesses within Europe, Africa, or internationally that is still reliant on emails? And does it still take a lot of them to switch to SMS messaging? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I think, somebody said to me, because there aren't many people talking about WhatsApp in our
Mhm.
space, and I naturally get the question every now and then. You're riding a bit of a wave at the moment in that you're the sort of known person for it. What happens when more people get known for it? And I was like, that's great. It's more visibility on the platform for me. But like, you and I know that you can automate an email to go when somebody fills out a form. There are still businesses that aren't doing that.
Yes.
And there are very few businesses that I speak to that are predominantly the service based or what I call lead orientated. So they
Mhm.
need to, at some point, generate a lead, have a sales process, turn that into a sale.
Mhm.
Um, Very few businesses I speak to in and around Europe, most of Asia, as I said, Latin America, that when I say to them, do you think your contacts are more receptive to WhatsApp or email, would say anything other than WhatsApp?
Mhm.
But they don't know that you can automate things in a really, really effective way. They just don't know about it.
Yep.
And email's great. We still send an email every day to. I've got a list of about 6,500. Send an email every single day to them. So like, there's power in email. I'm not
Yes.
downplaying email. And I'm really happy with my open rate of about 36% averages, between 35 and 36%.
Mhm.
I'm celebrating the fact that only 65% of the people I'm sending it to never read it. And it's just, I mean, the comparison isn't there. And then even when you look at SMS versus WhatsApp for those that use it, pretty much every mobile device on the planet can send an SMS.
Yes.
So let's say you've got 6, 7 billion users of that, people that have access to SMS. Around the globe, there's about 3 billion monthly active WhatsApp users. So about half. But number of messages sent every day, it's about 25 billion SMS messages sent every day. There's 100 billion WhatsApp sent every day. So there's 4 times as many messages from a platform that has half as many users.
Wow, I've never thought of that, data of how much being sent through this tool, right? And I mean, you've mentioned a little bit about something as well, right? Businesses still don't understand the power of the follow-up. And yeah, I understand that one. Sometimes I fill up a form and then it's like cricket. I had this very good,
With
yeah, I had this very good experience, right? Like a business. So I'm an early planner. So I was celebrating a milestone for my husband's birthday. So it was a June birthday, January, as early as that. I was already planning because I want to make sure, I spread out the costs and everything for the party. I filled out the form, never got anything. I called the business, never got the follow up. Like, what is happening? And I've spent like what, close to maybe 1,000, give or take, for the whole thing, right? And be like, you
yeah,
just lost that business. And like sometimes though, as business owners, like we focus on really the sales and just the closing and the inbound and the referral, right? It takes a little bit more of planning. So you mentioned Like how do you influence a business that they really need to set this up so that they won't lose all the leads that are incoming? Because I know we might have some viewers here, right? Like, yep, I know WhatsApp is, I know what it's important is, but sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of influence them and say yes, that let's integrate this. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm probably going to take one step back to answer that better, and it's reminding businesses that the person going through your process does not they don't care about you.
Mm.
Like the name, I don't want to swear on the podcast, but the name of my book is "No One Gives a About Your Business."
Yes.
Right? And I wrote that specifically because I need people to remember that, like, you know your business really well.
Hmm.
You know the answers to most of the questions. You know what the process is, but more importantly, you know what the benefit is of them working with you. So whether you solve a massive problem or give them an immense amount of pleasure or somewhere in between that scale, you know that. They don't.
Hmm.
And what people forget is that when you're going through a process, if they don't care, they'll just stop.
Yep.
Now, for me, WhatsApp comes into play because I can send videos without having them to click on different links or send really expensive multimedia files, and I can get them to interact. I can gamify it a little bit. But that's just the tool. The thing where I'm talking to businesses is what, like, I will ask them, what is the customer's experience from the point at which they fill out that form to the point at which you take them to the next step, which might be a discovery call or a webinar or whatever it is. What is that experience? And most of them say nothing. And I'm like, now let me ask you a question. If you inquired with a business once and then got nothing for the amount of time on average you think it's nothing, how likely do you think you are to buy that thing?
Yep. That's a very
And I
good
did,
question.
I did it in Manila. I normally ask this question on most stages. I say, right, in the room, put your hand up if you've ever interacted with a business and then been left thinking, what happens next? Almost entirely, I get the whole room. And I will say, keep your hand up in the air if that made you more likely to buy the product.
Hmm.
Everybody's hand goes down. So WhatsApp for me is the shiny object. It's the thing that I'm known for. It's the mechanics, it's the tools that I
Yeah.
think is the best communication platform for engagement out there, full stop, end of sentence.
Hmm.
But the bigger picture is looking at the actual experience, because we spend so much time thinking, how do I get this person to download this? How do I get this person to come into my world? How do I get them to, like, there's so much on that. Lead magnets, funnels, great advice all over the place. But what happens next?
Yes.
And
Understanding the journey and the next step, right? It's always just like top of
yeah,
the funnel and just like, okay, now you capture that, and after that, what happened?
like I talk, one of the biggest problems that I believe that I solve for clients is reducing no-show rates.
Hmm.
My no-show rate for sales calls for the last 18 months is 1.43%. And I track that number religiously
Hmm.
because I talk about it all the time. The reason for it, I think, is twofold. Number one, I'm really clear at the front end why somebody would be booking a call in with me.
Hmm.
But the biggest thing for me is in between them booking and them turning up, I'm sending them videos, telling them everything to expect, telling them that it is a sales call. I'm not going in for any of this, come with me for a free consultation. I don't want to sell you anything. It's like, I want to sell you something.
Yeah.
But I'm laying it out and I'm telling them, look, when you turn up on the call, this is going to happen.
Hmm.
I'm going to ask you loads of questions. And the point of those questions is for two things. One, I want to find out if what I do can actually help you. And secondly, I want to find out whether I want to, because I don't work with everyone. And I'll go through and I've got a few other things that I put in those videos. But because it's WhatsApp and the way it's delivered, the open rates are over 93% on average. The watch rate and engagement rate's massive. My reply rate at the moment is something like 72% for in general. This is a WhatsApp stat, not my stat. 80% of every WhatsApp message sent around the world is opened within 10 minutes.
Wow.
So they're watching the videos. And
Yes.
I get people that might just have seen a Facebook ad for 30 seconds who
Hmm.
turn up on a sales call and watch me for 10 minutes. And they're asking me about the offers that I talked about in the videos. So it
It's like
the answer to,
it's your way of like planting the seed towards the main sales call, right? Because they already
yeah,
had the interest, and now through those videos and small, part before the call, you're offering it in a much subtle way. Now that during the call, hey, I saw your video, I want to talk about this, and then see whether they're the right fit. I
Yeah.
love that strategy.
It's just the there are so many businesses for which the experience is not good.
Hmm.
And it's just not thought of. It's not deliberately bad.
Yep.
It's just, again, if you go into it with a mindset of, well, of course they know the answer to that question because I know the answer to that question. Well, they don't. Like, and here's the reason that I wrote the book was if you approach your clients and customers and leads and prospects as they don't care about you,
Hmm.
now put a customer experience in place. It's amazing for the people that do.
Hmm.
If you can get somebody who starts with "Meh," and gets to the point where it's like, do you know what? Actually, this is probably a good thing. Everybody's experience is better.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the sort of the main driver. I think that happens with conversations. I think it happens with engagement. I think it happens with putting your personality in and not being really boring.
Hmm.
Like the one thing that differentiates all of us is us.
Yes, that's true. No
So like
matter how, the same tool we're using, right? But then it represents us. That creates the unique aspect of things. And when we were talking about the client journey, right, or the journey and experience of your client as well, one of the questions I was about to ask is that at what point does follow-up become annoying rather than effective as well? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's only annoying if you're not giving people the opportunity to frankly tell you to leave you alone.
Mm, okay.
So there's a sales trainer that I work with, absolutely amazing sales trainer. I'd hugely recommend him, a guy called Matt Elwell, based in Birmingham, England. And he talks about a thing called the three Ps: be
Mm.
purposeful, persistent, and professional. I don't think you can follow up somebody too much,
Okay.
as long as you're giving them the ability at every point to say, "This isn't for me." Uh, my mindset massively shifted on this a few years ago when I was asked two questions, and I include these two questions in a lot of the talks that I do because they're two beautiful questions.
Hmm.
Question number one is if you're trying to follow somebody up and it's whatever service, whatever it is. Question number one is, do you genuinely believe at your core that if somebody works with you, they will have an overwhelmingly positive outcome? That might be personal, it might be financial, it might be business, it doesn't matter, whatever your service is. If you truly believe that if they work with you, they will be better off at the end, and the answer is yes.
Hmm.
The second question is, do you think you're making it easier or harder for them to get that benefit by not following them up?
Hmm.
So for me, I believe that you're doing a disservice to the person that you can help if you're not following them up, as long as you're putting your hand up and saying, look, I don't want to be a pest here. So if this isn't for you, massive, be really clear. This is the big leave me alone button, not a little unsubscribe button at the bottom of an email. Like, tell me, again, I don't want to swear on the podcast, but my follow up from doing exhibitions and talks, the message that gets sent 48 hours afterwards, which by the way is the fourth message they get,
Hmm.
all of them have a not interested button. But the one 48 hours later, the video starts. Now, I'm going to look at the camera because this is exactly what the video looks like. Chris here. I've sent you three messages so far, encouraging you to take the next steps or telling me you're not interested, and you've done neither. So that means one of two things. Either you're not interested and you're feeling that you don't want to offend me by pressing that button. So I'm giving you full permission to say F off Chris by pressing the F off Chris button below.
I love that one.
If if you are still interested, but you haven't taken the next steps, one of two things true. Either you have some questions, big I have a question button below me at the moment,
Hmm.
or there is the button for you to actually book some time in. And to let you know, if I don't hear from you, spoiler alert, I'm going to follow you up again. So, like, I'm really like, I
It's
want
like
people out.
really managing their expectation, right? If you're going to take action, okay. If you're not going to take action, this is what's going to happen. So either way, you really are intentional and how you are going to touch base with them, whether they decide to let go and, F off and or continue receiving your message. And that is a very intentional way as a business owner and somebody who's also helping other businesses to be more mindful of really how they touch base with their clients. So that's a fair point that you're saying, right? Like being annoying and follow up doesn't really turn out to be annoying if you are intentional. But if it's just for the sake of following up because of, blurting out some words of follow up and no clear direction, then that's gonna be so annoying. I love that
Yeah.
process. I really love that one. And I think that's the best part for those who are watching and also listening to us, right? Like how you build your business and how you follow up, how the clients experience in the very first part before they hire you creates a very good impression. If you are also a service provider, how can you make use of this process that Chris has to make sure that your clients also has this one, right? So now, Chris, we've talked about, the America and the US and how the UK and the other markets are really using WhatsApp. Now, what do you think? I think this is what you might have mentioned this one, but what do American business misunderstand about WhatsApp? Because adaptation looks really different, right? Like what you've mentioned.
Mm.
Because me right now, while I'm having it, okay, if I'm gonna integrate it, I'll have to say like, hey, do you have WhatsApp in your phone, or does your customer has WhatsApp, right? So what look different does the UK and other markets has? What is a misunderstanding of WhatsApp?
There's a few misunderstandings. I'll probably do the top three for the benefit. Number one is that the high level system will allow you, if you try and send a WhatsApp as the first step,
Hmm.
if it's undelivered, then you can default to SMS.
Okay.
So that's one of the important things is you don't really lose if you have a workflow that's set where WhatsApp is going to be the primary communication.
Hmm.
If from the start they don't have WhatsApp, then you can default into what the SMS would have been anyway. So
Okay.
for the people that do have WhatsApp, brilliant, they get it. The people that don't, they get the SMS regardless. So you don't really lose out. Number two is that the people that do have and use WhatsApp regularly use it regularly. Like the average time spent on WhatsApp by an average WhatsApp user around the world is 61 minutes,
Wow.
which when you compare it to things like TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever,
Hmm.
doesn't sound like a lot, but you're not aimlessly scrolling through WhatsApp,
True.
reading old conversations. At 61 minutes of pure messaging time staring at that app on
Hmm.
average. So the people that use it. And like I could talk about open rates and
Yes.
engagement rates and everything like it sits above everything else, frankly.
Hmm.
The third bit is that it's a much more personal platform. And what I've seen both email and SMS to a slightly lesser degree, but still the same, it's just full of spam.
Hmm. Yes.
And because of that, receiving a salesy email, you'll just ignore it.
Hmm.
Whereas WhatsApp's barrier to entry is really high. They do not, under any circumstances, want WhatsApp to become like email or SMS. So if you send messages, the first thing that pops up on their screen is, this is from a contact you don't know. What do you want to do? And it'll encourage them to block you
Yeah.
immediately. You can't avoid that. What we want to do is then get people engaging with the conversation, replying, pressing call to action buttons. There's skills to do that where it feels personal and it feels engaging and people do interact with it. It's it's a it just isn't the same. There's a keynote talk that I'm delivering that that I can't tell anyone.
Hmm.
But the talk title is going to be SMS. WhatsApp is not SMS. How to use it to generate sales.
Yeah.
And the difference with an SMS is typically it's going to be very text based for the most part.
Okay.
It's not really going to have too many call to action buttons. There might be a link in the SMS, but if you're trying to get somebody to respond, typically you'll be getting somebody to like send me this word to get this. And
Yes.
whereas in WhatsApp, it's just a button where it's a quick reply button and they get the response off the back of it. So the interactivity is easier and better. And my favorite sentence in the world is a really weird sentence. And if you saw my talk in Manila, you'll know what this sentence is. My favorite sentence in the world is, I didn't tell you to kill him. And it's my favorite sentence in the world because it has seven different words in it, six different meanings based on which word I put the inflection on. Because if
Okay.
I was to say to you, Joanna, I didn't tell you to kill him,
Hmm.
it's a different sentence to I didn't tell you to kill him. I didn't tell you to kill him is different to I didn't tell you to kill him. And again, is different to I didn't tell you to kill him. And I didn't tell you to kill him all mean something different.
Yes.
If I write that down, I have a 1 in 6 chance of you reading that sentence the way that I wrote it.
Hmm.
If I say it with my voice, whether it's a voice note, whether it's a video, you get it immediately.
Yeah.
And the problem that both email and SMS have is that there is guaranteed sentences and ways that you phrase something in your written messaging that is being read differently
Friendly.
by the person reading it. And spoiler alert, you're never going to be able to find them because every time you read your own stuff, you'll read it the way that you wrote it.
That's true. That is so true. So yeah, I like how, as you describe that one and how intentional, just the way you can send a message, like what you said, right? Like the buttons and all the other things. It's more cleaner, and more
Mhm.
direct. And just like what you've said, right? There are strategies on how you can convey your message and what you do, but it's a little bit more simpler. And now it really made me think, right? Like with that, because I do have WhatsApp because of my family in the Philippines and some of my team members in different countries. And yeah, every time I open a WhatsApp message, it's really an intentional message, either for someone I know, I can control the if it's indeed a spam, right? And but the open rate, and as we all know, marketers and businesses, it's the open rate. How many people open the messages that we sent out? And with that, that's a very good point. And now, you emphasizing it that if WhatsApp can't get sent, it goes through SMS. So that's indeed a very good strategy, that can be mixed with your communication using high level and WhatsApp again, and really just integrating it, right? So, would you say then that what kind of businesses should absolutely like be using WhatsApp? You've mentioned it, like those who are driven like with follow ups, with really like lead generation. Is there any specific industry that you work with that is really like really uses WhatsApp besides the fact that it's international, communication,
Mm.
but how about business type?
I think I get asked that question a lot, and my response to that has been slightly changing recently.
Okay.
Typically, my answer is any business that has what I would class as a considered sales process.
Okay.
That could be lead orientated. It could be product, but it would normally be higher ticket
Mhm.
products, so something you don't typically impulse buy. Um, there are exceptions. You can use it in e-commerce for abandoned cart and review requests and stuff like that. But generally speaking, that's what I sort of focus on. But I think recently, where I've seen it having a huge impact is personality-led businesses. So, like you and me are the face of our business.
Yep.
The receipt of videos and hearing more and people trusting you and that build of trust, that is something that you can really strongly deliver. And I mentioned the sales trainer Matt earlier. One of his principles is you want to find out in a sales conversation what the pain is, how urgent it is to solve it, what they need to solve it, and whether you can deliver it. Do they trust you to deliver it? And the quantitative data around, it's not just I'm not closing sales, it's we're only closing one out of every 10, the
Mhm.
actual data behind it. For me, with the WhatsApp sequences, I very rarely need to work on the trust in a call
Okay.
because people have seen me. They've interacted. They've also heard me being really genuine. And, I'm not reading from a thank you for calling and getting in touch. Like, I'm doing it in a way that it's like, look, if you want to buy from me, you want to buy from me. If you don't, you don't. All of that's fine.
Hmm.
Let's work out what the best way to approach it is. And I think any business where the customer has an experience and the quality of that experience is going to dictate whether they buy and or return.
Hmm.
You should be looking at what that experience is. And that doesn't, by the way, it doesn't have to be WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But for the people that use WhatsApp, it's open so much more than anything else, and the ability to send videos in it is just so effective.
Better.
Like in Manila, there were 2,000 people in Manila, as you saw. I mean, an incredible room. It was absolutely unbelievable. My QR code for my talk is right at the start of the talk. because I do a demonstration when I'm on stage.
Yes.
Have a guess at how many leads I got in that first 10 minutes.
I bet hundreds.
991.
Wow.
Every single one of them at 7 o'clock that night got a
Hmm.
video from me thanking them for spending some time watching me on stage. And I'm not saying the following bit arrogantly, but there
Yes.
were some amazing speakers. You were on stage, you were incredible. There were so many good messages and brilliant delivery of those from stage. But at 7 o'clock on the first night, who do you think all of them were thinking about?
Yeah. It's gonna be you because you were intentional, you were really strategic as well with when they opt in. And that is the experience that businesses needs to understand because for every networking that you do, for every speech that we do, for every like businesses what we do, right? I mean, how many people have approached me as well? And then who do I remember are those who've intentionally reach out and follow up, DM, and that's a very good point to emphasize on what we're doing with using high level automation with WhatsApp and all the tools that is available. Now, Chris, you have really been publicly emphasized on human first approach to automation. What
Mhm.
do you think should never be automated?
My Such a good question. Never automated is such a definitive, it's such a definitive thing as well.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to answer it slightly differently.
Okay.
Automation that purely benefits the business at the expense of the customer, that
Mm,
should never be automated.
okay.
So
And
here in the
that can
UK,
be interpreted differently per business. And you were saying,
yeah,
sorry.
no, no, you're completely right, and that's why I want to. It's a little bit of a nuanced answer
Yeah.
where things can be automated as long as it is customer centric first. So the we know in the UK, if we try and call our bank, you're
Mhm.
going to be going through 3.5 minutes of some sort of automation where
Yep.
it'll say, "Is this your problem?" or say, "Tell us in some short words what your problem is." And the voice AI never recognizes what we're trying. It's
Yep.
frustrating. And we all know that that's not to benefit us, that's so that they get to spend less on their call center teams.
Yes.
It's clear, right? And that imbalance in we're decreasing the quality of your customer experience because we save money is really frustrating.
Yes.
On public transport, one of the best improvements of public transport in the London Underground system was the dot matrix display boards that tell you how long the train's going to take.
Hmm.
None of us have ever complained about that because that's purely there for us.
Yep.
And one of the best illustrations of this I've ever given, and it's taken and inspired by Rory Sutherland, is imagine you had two scenarios, right? You were standing on a train platform. You need to get a train. There are two different scenarios. One is there's a train in 10 minutes, and one is there's a train in 5 minutes. Which one would you prefer?
Mm.
So
Yep.
normally, most people say 5 minutes.
Yep.
Let me slightly reframe it. In the 5 minute scenario, there's no board that tells you when the train's going to come. You don't know if you're on the right platform. There's no signal for you to work out. You don't know if the train's on strike. There's no staff there to tell you to help. There's no boards there. There's that you're just sat for 5 minutes in anxiety. You don't know if the train's going to be 1 minute or 30 minutes versus 10 minutes where you have all of those luxuries. Now, which scenario do you want to be in?
The 10 minutes because I know.
The problem that most businesses have is they look at the problem from a perspective of, well, of course you take 5 minutes, but actually that's a problem. So like I love automation.
Yes.
I think your first touch point as a business should 100% every time be automated
Mhm.
because it will always be faster.
Yep.
And speed to lead is incredibly important.
Hmm.
But you can send a video that says, "Thank you so much for the inquiry. Our team are going to be reaching out by themselves within the next 24 hours."
Hmm.
And if you then call them 30 minutes later, you've blown the expectations miles. Like you look so much better. So it isn't a case of not automating, or it's if your automation is company first at the expense of the quality of experience of the person that ultimately is paying you to then keep company running,
Hmm.
that's where I see the problem.
I totally agree with that. As you were describing scenarios, sometimes of urgency, and then you get automated and you can't reach the person or the company that you need to. It is so frustrating that then it turned into because as a consumer, right, we trust businesses that we've either doing business with already, that we can either reach out, we can get hold of them, we can, get the service. And when something breaks, we are able to really reach. And when there is a roadblock, just because of what you've said, right, it's more business centric rather than client centric, then you're losing the whole value of how automation and technologies are being used. So that is a very good reminder for those who are implementing all of this technology, especially in the world of AI now, right? Like
Mm.
people are saying, hey, the agentic AI employee, all of these other things, right? We get into the weeds of the fancy shiny object, but then I think the good reminder that you're really saying, Chris, is that pause a little bit, map out like what we've really discuss, map out the journey, and identify at what point are you using the client interaction, and then reevaluate, do you really need this, or are you just really protecting your business because you want to save money, you want to streamline, you want all of these other things. Now, how does AI, is there any AI features that WhatsApp is rolling out? Like how are these things, or, with a tool, right? Because I'm just a user of a regular user WhatsApp. What are the things happening in that world?
So Meta's a little bit cautious with AI in terms of
Mhm.
how it's used on WhatsApp.
Okay.
The the general line in the sand is that if you get somebody to initiate a conversation with you and an AI agent is then taking over that conversation as sort of
Mhm.
normal back and forth, Meta encourages that. They think it's a good thing. And
Mhm.
again, you can hook it up to conversation AI, the AI agents in high level. You can get it to have. I was talking to a client earlier who's put that into practice, and his entire like follow up process, he only jumps in when the AI tells him he has to.
Mhm.
Where Meta doesn't want you to be using it is using AI to then go out and like do a lot of the follow up, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Because it's very like Meta limits you on how many messages you can send to a certain person per day until you've demonstrated that you're using it for good.
Okay.
When you set up an API account, you'll typically be limited to either 250, 1,000, or 2,000 people a day.
Okay.
For most businesses, that's quite a high limit.
Yes.
Um, you can only jump up to the next tier, which is 10,000 people, when you've had half of your current limit reply to you over a 7 day period. So if your limit's 1,000 people, 500 different people have to reply to you over a week for Meta to go, right, you can now send 10,000.
Hmm.
And you only get knocked off that 10,000 bracket if you start getting negative feedback. So it isn't a case of you constantly need people replying. It's once you're at that tier, you're at that tier and you only get dropped down. And the tiers for the listeners are that first tier, which can be one of those three things: 10,000, 100,000 people a day, and then it's up to unlimited.
Hmm.
Um, but all of it's predicated on replies because Meta wants to see that if you are sending messages, people are engaging. They're coming back the way that you want to. They know people are going to open the messages, so open rates are naturally high, and therefore, ironically, don't really play a part in whether Meta thinks you're doing a good job or not because they know that the messages are going to be opened.
Okay.
What they're looking for is lack of negative feedback and interaction and replies. And this is where, to be honest, the following tip that I give, I think is the reason why High Level asked me to do the course and have me on the stages.
Yes.
Because I can't remember who said it to me, but when I was at the stand talking to them, somebody said, "How are you dealing with people that are having their accounts banned?" So what they're doing is they're sending a message out. It has that block button that I mentioned,
Yes.
and people are just pressing the block button. How are you getting past that? I said, well, number one, set an expectation that WhatsApp's coming. A WhatsApp out of the blue feels really weird, especially from a business that you don't care about.
Hmm.
But in your message, have a button that is the "leave me alone, never speak to me again" button. Really obvious, really like most of the ones that I put in for my clients just say the words "not interested." That button tags them in the system, removes them from flows, they're excluded from things like off the back of that button, that person's out.
Yes.
That person feels validated because they've pressed that button. But Meta sees it as a reply.
Mm.
They don't see it as negative feedback. So in a hypothetical world, I could send 1,000 messages out to people. Let's say that's my daily limit. Don't do what I'm about to say. This is all a hypothetical. But if I sent 1,000 messages out and 500 people press the leave me alone, never speak to me again button, Meta will upgrade my account.
Because it's still a reply.
500 replies. They don't know
Yes.
it's a reply to say get out of the sequence.
Yes.
And that's the thing is understanding what the human's going through in the process. Some of them don't want to get messages from you.
Hmm.
And if they can't stop it, they'll go and find a way.
Yes.
And that negative feedback is that block button. There's you can block and report anybody on WhatsApp whenever you want. That's what Meta's going to look out for. And you'll get your account shut down very fast.
Yes. And
Um,
just having it available easier, and then that whole, idea, right? That it's still a reply. It's still something that is not beneficial, but it's still a strategy, right? It's still something because they reply, but you made it so easy for a consumer or for a receiver to just act on it and just not receive all of the other things. And I think, again, I'm going back to the word how intentional the WhatsApp or Meta is with their tool. And this is really a very, very good tool that businesses needs to consider and integrate. There's a lot of things like I've WhatsApp is a tool that I've never really just considered because number one, no one asked me.
yeah.
I'm Most of my clients are really US based. I did have, I think, somebody from Singapore one time just of a client, but yeah, this is a very, very good, amazing, amazing things. And I am just so glad that you actually have your course inside our, the university. You have been an advocate for this tool because it allows us to do more. It opened doors for more conversation to happen, a much more intentional
Exactly.
follow up. And I love what you are really saying, right? So now, Chris, if there's one thing as we close the conversation as well, like if someone listening has a leads right now sitting in their CRM and then haven't bought, replied, or booked, anything, what should they do first thing tomorrow morning or maybe Monday? Because it's got to be weekend now as we are recording this one. What should they do?
Start a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was with my sales trainer actually on Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and I finished up. I live in Armagh in Northern Ireland. He's in Birmingham, so I've got to go over the Irish Sea. I finished with him at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. My flight wasn't until 10 p.m., but the airport's 10 minutes away. So I was in the airport for like 5 hours, and I felt really energized off the back of it. And I just went back to the 25 top people that I think I can do some business with soon. I messaged every single one of them.
Wow.
Like some of them were clients that are coming up to their renewal part. Some of them were people I haven't done a great job with in the past of following up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are new people that I've gone, look, I think we've got a great opportunity. And in that time, I've closed off the back of that two two clients, one early renewal, one other client. The total deal value so far that I've closed is about £10,000,
Yep.
it's about $14,000. Um, I also have got a meeting booked in with one of the top. I can't do too much, but the opportunity would be insane.
Mm-hmm.
I've chased up a couple of things and been confirmed and reached out. I'm on two more podcasts. I've got um three possible stage appearances before the start of next year. Like it there is so much in your phone, in your database at the moment, and every marketer under the sun thinks that new leads are the way forward. By the way, leads are important. I'm not saying that isn't correct, but I am guaranteeing every person on this podcast that your next client is already in your phone. And if I said to somebody, if you had 100 contacts in your phone, what is the reasonable outcome of sending all 100 of them a message that just says, Chris here, I'm sending you a quick message because I've got a bit of a favor to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to grow my business and I've set myself a target and I need some help. Who do you know at the moment that would benefit from closing more leads and sales using WhatsApp that
Mm-hmm.
you can introduce me to in the next 24 hours? That message sent to the 100 people in your phone will get you more qualified leads than anything else you can do. And everybody's trying to do all this fanciness and trying to do, just have a conversation with a human being.
Yes. Such a good
And
reminder.
that would be my thing. And listen, WhatsApp generates those conversations. It's a lovely tool for it, but
Yes.
ultimately, just they're human beings. They're not scary. The worst that they can do is tell you to F off. And
Yes.
if they do, celebrate the same as if they sold, because then you've got one less person you need to waste your time on.
That is so true. Amazing, amazing, amazing learning here, Chris, and amazing tips that you have shared. It's sometimes, the basic, we complicate too much of things, but at the end of the day, start with a basic, communicate, start with a conversation, reach out, show up, and then leverage the tools like WhatsApp and high level into your process in order for you to bring your business to the next level. Amazing. So, Chris, you know what? I'm so excited actually to see you again in October in Dallas during the Level Up. Please do share how can people reach out to you? How can they learn more about you? Which group or community, or even to purchase your book if they want to?
So, easiest way is social media. Chris Dillon across all of the social medias. You'll find the course in the High Level University if you're an agency user on that. I can provide the course if people get in touch. The book is on Amazon. No one gives a about your business. It is on Amazon. Unsurprisingly, there are QR codes in there where you'll get sent words. Like I'm so easy to get in touch with. We were talking about networking.
Yes.
That's the back of my phone. There is no scenario where you can be talking to me and I don't get your details.
Mhm.
And that does an immediate WhatsApp demo while somebody's in front of me. I've used that in planes, football stadiums, like trains. Like I've used it everywhere in the most ridiculous examples. But yeah, Chris Dillon across all of it, and there'll be something there for everyone.
There you go, right? So if you want to engage, learn more, how can you use the tools that Chris uses to help businesses? Or if you are a business owner yourself, right? And you would love to have Chris help you integrate this tool so that you can leverage it, you can communicate with your clients, have a follow-up, generate more sales. You need this awesome guy right here. So Chris, thank you so much for saying yes to this conversation. I'm just so excited to, to connect more, build that, colleague relationship, and I'll see you soon. I know it's going to be another flight for us, right? But that's
Nine
what
nine
we
and a half
do.
hours.
That's what we do. So mine is going to be lesser then, but yes, that's what we do. We love the miles, I think.
Yes. Yeah, so do the airlines, oddly enough.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And for those of you who are listening and tuning in, make sure to subscribe, follow, and if you like this conversation, make sure to comment down below because we would love to have a conversation with you. All right, till next time.